Hello again, geeks and gamers. Sergito is back again with yet another video. This time I want to go again back to the well that I've tapped before and talk some more about fast and fun games. Games that can be played in about half hour or so, and they're quick and easy, and they're family friendly and they're fun. The first one I want to talk about is a game that I picked up at Gen Con. It's called Martian Dice. Now, upon first glance, you might say, hey, that looks like a lot like Zombie Dice. And from the outside, it does. And in gameplay, it's actually fairly similar. But it is not made by Steve Jackson Games. It's actually made by Tasty Minstrel Games. And instead of a zombie theme, it's actually obviously a Martian theme. It works pretty simply. You've got your dice here. On the dice, you have red tanks. You have Martian ships. You have chickens, you have cows, and lastly, you have humans. Now, the goal is you roll all the dice, and for every for every tank you get, because you're playing the Martian, by the way, for every tank that's there, this is the humans fighting back against you. You have to have a Martian ship to equal or exceed that. If you don't, if you have more tanks than you do Martian ships at the end, when you're done rolling, you're actually not going to score anything for that round. So you have to equal or exceed the number of tanks. That's key. And then every turn after you choose to keep either, you have to keep tanks, and then you get to keep one other grouping after that. So if you're not keeping the lasers, so if you're already good on that or you want to take a chance, you choose to either keep the humans, the chickens, or the cows. And the reason for this is you as the Martian are not sure which of those species are actually the dominant species on planet Earth. And so you want to get examples of all three so you can go ahead and test them and probe them and do all those things you do as Martian. So you choose to keep one thing, whether it be lasers, chickens, cows, or humans. Once you choose something, you take all of that thing and you put it to the side. Once you choose one of the species, you can't choose them again for the rest of the game. So you continue rolling and pulling aside both the tanks and then whatever else you choose until you can no longer keep anything. So say if you roll and the only thing you have left in your roll is chickens, and you've already taken chickens for that round, you can no longer score. So you put those aside, those don't count. And as long as you have more lasers than you do tanks, then you go ahead and score out whatever species you have. 1 point for each one. Now, if you have an example of each species, you get a bonus of 3 points. And then you keep playing, and I believe the total score you're looking for is 20. And first one to that wins. It's a quick game. You can play it with any number of people. I'm looking here at the package. It doesn't say number of players. I've played it with 2, and I've played it with as many as 8. So it works. I mean, obviously, if you're playing with more players, it takes longer. But it's such a short game in general that even if it takes a little bit longer, people don't really get bored. And you can just have a little conversation while you're playing anyway. The next game I want to talk about is has gotten a lot of views, so it's kind of beaten up here, but it's Cthulhu Gloom. It's a Cthulhu-themed version of the Gloom game, if you've ever seen that or played that. Basically, it's a pretty interesting little concept, a cool game using some unique types of cards. As you can see here, the cards are actually clear. If you can see that at all, let me kind of show you that. Well, they're a little frosted, but they're mostly clear. But what you have is you end up having a family, so to speak, that you choose. In this, it's not really a family. It's actually just groupings of things from the Cthulhu mythos. You have people from Miskatonic University and other places, but anyway, you'll have somebody. This will be your family member. The goal is for all of your family members to die by the end of the game. But on top of just them dying, you want them to die with a negative point total. So you see as they overlay, see right there, now it has nothing. I overlay this. There we go. And there's now negative point totals and symbols here. Symbols do different things. They match up with the text on the bottoms of the cards. But if you can see here closely, there's negative point totals right here, negative 15 and negative 10. There's 3 total spaces here. So as you're playing through the game, people overlay your characters here with different cards, and they cover up those spaces. So it went from negative 25 to now it's positive 10, and the symbols have changed. There's new text up here, so different things will happen, and that keeps happening until you finally end up killing your character with a death card. So you end up kill the character. That character is now dead, and unless the card says otherwise, you can't do anything to affect that character. The goal is to have the maximum or the most negative points out of everybody that's playing, because by doing that, that's actually your better score is getting the negative points. It's a really interesting game, really interesting concept. The biggest part of the game that I think is interesting is each card has a title on it. And the title isn't just like a regular title. Like, for example, this death card at the top says, was eaten by frogs. So the character card I had out earlier was Joe Sargent, the Batrachian bus driver. Looks like some sort of alien or something. I don't know if you can see that there at all. So basically when I kill him, I'm supposed to tell a little story involving what he is and what's on the card. So I'd say, oh, Joe Sargent, the bus driver, was driving his bus through, taking some kids on a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm having a little bit of a brain fart here. On a tour of like some nature preserve or something, and while they were out looking at things, the frogs that were inside the marsh kind of came to life, got on board the bus, and they started eating poor Joe. Lay that card. That was my play. Right there. Done. You get 2 plays per turn. You can play only 1 death card, and it has to be on your first play. And then you also have events and things that might give you more turns. But that game is pretty interesting. I really like the concept of using the clear cards. That's really neat to me. I like the overlaying aspect. It's very interesting. This is, I don't know if it's a successful use of the Cthulhu theme. It's not as spooky or anything as you think it might be. I think that if I were to get into Gloom the first time, I would, or if somebody else was getting into Gloom for the first time, I would suggest actually they go for the standard Gloom game. It has a little bit more support. There's more expansions and extras to that game. It's a little bit easier to deal with. The ideas and the storytelling aspect is easier to manage with the base game than this. But if you're into Cthulhu and you like the Cthulhu mythos and then the story that's involved with Cthulhu, this is a good game to use with that. On the back here, I'll let you know, it does say ages 13 and up, so there is a little bit of a complication here. It's not as easy as some of the other games that I'm talking about, but it is actually fairly easy to pick up if you are used to playing a few games. It only plays 2 to 5 players, so not the greatest party game in the world because you can't get a huge amount of players, but it does fit 5, so that is a nice game. The next game I want to talk about, if you are a game player and you play little card games or board games at all, you're probably familiar with the Fluxx games, but I want to talk about today Star Fluxx. It's the newest Fluxx, just came out at the end of September. It is probably my favorite Fluxx at this point. It has just about every single star-based sci-fi trope that you can even think of. The funniest things. I'm just going to go through a few of them here to kind of give you an idea. Like some of the goals. Here we go. He's dead, Captain. I mean, that's obviously a take on Star Trek. Imperial Star Destroyer. Come on. Let's see what else do we have here. Oh, here's an interesting keeper called Unseen Force. It's a, like a telekinetic power, basically. Trying to think. I'm just trying to find some other ones quickly here. The Captain. There you go. The captain has a very interesting ability. That's one different thing with this game than most of the other Fluxes, is most of the keepers actually have abilities on them. They're not just there. For example, the captain, once per turn, you can take basically crewmen from other players. The doctor, the engineer, the scientist, or the expendable crewman. Speaking of the doctor, there he is. There's the engineer. The wormhole is an interesting card. The wormhole basically is every round you may choose to immediately draw and play a card. You don't have a choice on whether or not to play it. If you choose to draw a card, you play it. Teleporter. A couple of other interesting ones here. Trying to find some of the cool ones. Oh, right now, because it is a new game, they do have a promo. It's 99 cents, and I went ahead and picked it up. It's the Robo-Doc. It counts both as the robot and the doctor, and it can cure one of the creepers called brain parasites. There's only, I think, three creepers in the entire game, but they're interesting. And so you've got your Space 2001 with the Monolith. Doctor Who fans, come on, they got a time traveler. Hello, Doctor Who. Here's one of my favorite cards. I wanted to get to this one. This is why I was going through this. The Expendable Crewman. The Expendable Crewman, as you can see, is the red shirt. Old Star Trek, trope. But basically, the ability that's on the card is what makes it the most interesting. Anytime any player discards or takes away one of your keepers, they have to take this one. They can't take any others. So, I mean, if you have I have this goal in my hand. I want to win the game. All I got to do is take your X keeper. Well, it's like, nope, you can't take it. You got to take the Expendable Crewman. So, I mean, he is expendable. That's just, obviously he's the red shirt, so that works. There is Star Wars references, as I talked about. Doctor Who. Trying to think of what else. Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There is a goal in here that's called 42, and basically you have to have the computer and the robot or something. And no, computer and the space guide, the intergalactic travel guide. A goal called Star Warriors. Got to have the Unseen Force and the laser sword. Let's see what else here. The Scientist. Another ship crewman. He is, if you can see there, he's the Vulcan. He's got the pointy ears. The Starflux version of a Tribble, the cute, fuzzy alien creature. Basically, anytime this card goes into the discard pile, it goes to the top of the draw pile instead. And every turn, when your turn ends, if you have the fuzzy alien creature in front of you, you move it to the person next to you. So it's constantly moving around the table. Once it pops out, it pretty much never goes away, because if you put it in the discard pile, it goes back on top of the draw pile and gets drawn again the next turn and starts getting passed around again. It never goes away. So it is the Tribble. Goal, these aren't the droids. Obviously, these aren't the droids you're looking for. Again, you got Unseen Force and the robot as the goals there. Here's the 42 I was talking about. See the Intergalactic Travel Guide in the computer here as your goals. Another one of my favorites, Holographic Projection. This is a callback, obviously, to Star Trek with R2 and Leia. But basically what this keeper does is it allows you to mimic another keeper that's on the table as if it was in front of you. So this really helps you win the game. Another one of my favorite cards, Brain Transference. Brain Transference, you literally get up and change seats with another player. I've seen this played a lot in my play, where someone will basically play that at the end of their turn when they have just one play left or whatever, and they're almost done with their hand. They'll play that and then switch with this person on their left, so they get another turn, and that's kind of cool. But it's just like Flux. It plays no differently than regular Flux. It's just got a very cool new theme on it that I very much enjoy. So, yeah, a couple of new games, Starflux, Cthulhu Gloom, and Martian Dice. Fast, friendly games you can play anytime you want, don't take very much time, and they're great to play. Thanks for watching the video, and stay tuned for the next one. Should be coming up soon.